Hey there guys, my name is Luke. Welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. Right here you have the ALPS Mountaineering Zephyr one-person tent. Now, she has been all set up. She's ready to go. And I am prepared to give you guys a preview of this tent and to talk about my experiences with it so far. Stay with me. To start off with this preview, a big thanks goes out to campingsurvival.com for making this video possible. If it wasn't for them allowing us to T&E this tent, you guys wouldn't have this information today. So make sure to go check out their website, campingsurvival.com. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and touch upon the stats of this tent here. Alright, now when it comes to the dimensions, I have my trusty tape measure here, and that's because I never trust the dimensions that a company gives me. I always find that they're off by a little bit. So to give you guys the most accurate information, let's do a little bit of measuring, shall we? So we are looking at roughly 3 feet in width, 36 inches. In height, at the peak here, at the highest point, we are looking at 39 inches. From wall to wall, you're looking at 7 feet, 84 inches. Now, of course, that wouldn't be comfortable if you were actually laying inside of this tent. So, realistically, if you're 6'2" and lower, this will be fine for you. Any taller than that, and you may find this a little bit cramped. This is a freestanding 3-season tent. That is also very budget friendly at a retail price of $200. Now with that being said, you can find this on the open market for roughly $100 all day long. So the average going rate is $100 for this tent here. The full weight of this tent with all the storage bags, stakes, guy lines, and so on is 4 pounds 6 ounces. The trail weight is 3 pounds 15 ounces once you remove the stuffed sacks and so on. When it comes to the pack size, you are looking at 18 inches long by roughly 6 inches in diameter. It features aluminum poles. The fly is made from a 75 denier 185T polyester. The body is a mixture of polyester and poly taffeta 75D 185T. It features one door, one vestibule, and this tent has been on the market since at least 2009. Now, as you can see here, folks, this tent is tall enough where you can actually sit up inside of it and change clothes, do what you have to do. That makes it very handy when you're getting up in the morning, you're putting on your jacket, or when you're breaking down the tent and you're packing up all of your gear. Now, as mentioned before, this is a 3-season tent, and that is true to the very definition. This is not the tent that you would want to take out when it's extremely cold or when there's a lot of snow coming in. The body of this tent is composed of mesh, so any bit of breeze will be coming inside of this tent. You will feel it. This will not trap in any heat at all. Because of the bathtub floors, you don't have to worry about water splashing in, and also, because of that breeze, you don't have to really worry about condensation either. Excellent moisture control with this tent, with my testing so far. Now, speaking of which, I have spent 5 nights in this tent so far. Temperatures all the way down to 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's see, I have faced rain on 2 occasions. Now, interestingly enough, I had leaking on the very first night out with this tent during a pretty good soaking rain. Numerous inches fell, and by morning, I was beginning to have some leaking issues in 2 different spots. One spot here by the door, and then one spot at the very back. Now, because the mesh is so tightly woven with this tent, no water drops actually made it inside of the tent body. It would simply hit the mesh and then roll off. The second night of rain presented no leaking at all, but the rain wasn't as hard as the first night. So with that being the case, I cannot tell you that this tent is waterproof, unfortunately. There is an issue here. Now with that in mind, I have spoken to a number of different viewers who actually have this tent or have the bigger brothers to this tent. There's also a 2-person and 3-person version of this tent out there. It sounds like leaking is very common with these tents, unfortunately. Now at the $200 price tag, I have to say that it's just too much for this tent. For a poly taffeta material, that's pretty expensive, right? At $200, you should be looking at a ripstop nylon material for the fly of your tent. So at the $200 price point, I would say skip this tent, in my opinion. Now, as I mentioned before, you can find this tent for $100 all over the internet. I mean, most sites sell it for $100. For $100, this is a very interesting option. With the exception of the minor leaking, which you can easily take care of with some sealer, right? The leaks seem to come from sewing points dealing with the Velcro placements that are all the way around this tent. Fortunately, it only seems to be leaking from 2 points, not all of them. So that should be very easy to take care of. For $100, this is what I would consider a bargain, right? It's not very heavy. It's not expensive. The quality is good. The mesh is absolutely perfect. The stitching is great. There's no loose threads on this tent. It's very well thought out. There's a mesh pocket on the left side of the tent as you're looking out. There's also an included gear caddy. Nice touch. So another plus to this tent is that it's very tall. You can easily change your clothes, do whatever you got to do. It's also very wide. You can see you have the vent in the back, which you can close if you need to. Now, when it comes to setting up this tent, it really couldn't be any easier. You can do this in less than 10 minutes. You simply throw the poles in, throw the fly on, attach it. You're pretty much good to go. Stake everything out, you're done. When it comes to vestibule space, there's some, but there's not a whole lot. So it's big enough to store your pack on the outside, or maybe your boots, but do keep in mind that there could be some splashback because of the way that the fly is raised off of the ground. So if you want to make sure to keep your gear dry, put it inside of the tent. The vestibule is too small to cook in my opinion, but there is one feature which I really, really like. Check this out. There's a window. All tents should have windows. That is a great feature. It's a feature that I like more than I expected. With the door, you have two-way zippers. You also have a flap that goes over the zipper. So to wrap this up, let's touch upon the main points. For $200 with my testing so far, this is not a tent that I would recommend. I think there are better quality tents out there for the $200 range. I think that you could buy a used, high-quality tent for that price, and you will get more value for your money than this here. But things change at the $100 price point. For $100, this is a very impressive tent. No more than $100. $100, very impressive. The quality is very good. You may have to do a little bit of work to it to make it 100% waterproof. The vestibule is nice. It could be bigger, but you have to remember the price point. The weight, not bad at all. For most individuals, the height and the width is going to be fine. When it comes to the color combination of this tent, it's okay in my opinion. There's a real pumpkin-y feel to it, right? You're not going to go stealth camping with this tent. Luckily, the orange color isn't super bright. That's a plus. With the bathtub floor, so far with my testing, I've had no issues with water seeping in. It looks to be one large piece of polyester here, so yeah, there's no telling how this would perform if water actually was pulling around your tent. Moving on, the stuff sack is very large, plenty large enough so you could roll this up even with gloves on and put it inside of this stuff sack. Lots of room left over. Tons of stakes. 13 stakes were included with this tent. There's not even 13 tie-off points. I think that's more stakes than any tent on this planet. They seem to be of good quality, no issues with bending so far. With the poles, they are aluminum, but they are thin. That's not a bad thing. You have to remember what this tent is made for. 3-season use, in the rain, not much wind, no snow. And lastly, folks, you get 5 guy lines with tensioners. So folks, there you have it. That is the ALPS Mountaineering Zephyr one-person tent. Again, a big thank you must go out to campingsurvival.com for sending this in for us. You know, you guys are appreciated. Make sure to check out their website. They offer a wide range of really good gear and survival equipment. So that leaves us with one thing, the question. The question for you all. What do you guys think about this tent for the $100 price tag? Do you guys think it is worth $100, or do you think that $100 could be best spent somewhere else? Let me know what you all think. Comment down below. I do read every single comment. Of course, if you have a question, email me. Strength and honor to you all. Bye, guys. Now, folks, I hate to interrupt this video, but I wanted to take a second and thank everybody for your support of the channel, and to thank everybody who is supporting the channel through Patreon. Now, you guys are familiar with what Patreon is. That's a way to help donate to the channel, to help it grow, to help it to go new directions, and so on and every dollar does help. Here with the Outdoor Gear Review, I am completely agenda free. I never try to sell any products. I do not have a store. I do not give products a good review so you guys will go out, buy it, and I get a kickback. The channel is fully funded by myself. 98% of the gear which you all see, I purchase with my own money because it's important to be fair and honest with you all. Speaking of being fair and honest, every single product is backcountry and trail tested for you all so I can give you guys the best information possible. Thanks, guys.